Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V, where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. It's Dr. V here, where our coaching program teaches nurses to work from their computers anywhere around the world, making money and owning our own time. Our featured guest today is Candace Perry. So, Candace is a new nurse who recently graduated from Pitt Community College for her associate's degree in nursing. She has most recently started her career as a nurse on a med surg unit, where she also worked as a nursing assistant for 4 years. Candace plans to continue her education and attend University of Wilmington in the fall to work towards her BSN with her long-term goal of being a family nurse practitioner. She first discovered her passion for nursing while helping her parents take care of her younger brother with special needs and later in life grandmother with Alzheimer's. So welcome, Candace. I'm super excited to have you. So, full disclosure, Candace's mama and I have been friends for years, and I absolutely love her family. I saw Candace just kind of grow up. So I'm super excited. So now your mom is a nurse. That's how we became friends, right?
Right.
Now she is one of my best friends. Now, how did it feel to grow up in a house with a nurse as a small child?
Um, Honestly, I thought about so many words that I could use to describe my mother as a nurse and me growing up and watching her. And the only word that I could think of was empowered because my mother is a great nurse. Like I strive to be like her every day now that I'm a nurse myself. And just to watch her as I grew up be a nurse and save lives and touch lives really just empowered me. Now, full disclosure, I didn't want to be a nurse when I was younger. I was squeamish with the blood and the vomit and the bowel and all that. But watching her just love what she did and was so passionate about it really just moved me and empowered me to not just be a nurse at the time, but be a better person and a better woman. And I just am really thankful that I got the chance to grow up with a nurse in the house because I really believe it contributed to my attributes now as a older adult.
Yeah, she is very, very driven and very just an amazing person. And so I'm super like I cannot tell you enough about how much I love that. So someone said empowered, that is a whole word.
Mhm.
Go Linda Gregory for showing her that. And that's so
Yeah.
true. So true. So true. So now you did not want to be a nurse, as you mentioned initially. Now, what did you want to be and why did you choose this particular career path?
Um, so my mom laughs at me because of this. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was going through high school. Literally, like I would take all the legal classes in high school. I toured Georgetown University. I think it was Georgetown. It was some university in Virginia. I toured them thinking I was going to go there to pursue that career. Um, and my mama was for it. I mean, my mama believed that whatever I wanted to do, she was going to back me 100%. Um, but I chose it. I honestly don't even know why I chose it. I think it was because I grew up watching all the Criminal Minds shows, all the NCIS, and I wanted to be a top shot lawyer. But later down the line, I realized I was too nice to be a lawyer, so I had to choose a different path.
That is hilarious. Hilarious. I remember your mama telling me that you wanted to be a nurse. She was like, she no longer wants to be a lawyer. She wants to be a nurse. And I was like, okay, all
It's like
right.
two ends of the spectrum.
I was like, we'll embrace her. We'll embrace her.
Right.
So now what you changed into nursing. So we
Mhm.
know why you did not choose to be a lawyer, but
Right.
why did you change like nursing as opposed to some other career?
So I fully believe that God puts you on the path that you're destined to be on, no matter how hard you fight it. Because, like I said, I did not want to be a nurse. I was squeamish at all the bodily fluids. Um, so I decided that I was going to search for a different career path after graduating high school. And every time that I looked into something, nursing just struck my attention, no matter how hard I tried to stray away from it. And it was also things that I had been through my whole entire life that kind of was driving me to be a nurse. I know we want to talk about my brother, but my brother has special needs. So I grew up having to help my mother and father take care of him. And then later in my adolescent life, we ended up having to move my grandmother in with us and take care of her. And she has Alzheimer's. And for anybody that has to go through that, it's very difficult. As a family member, having to take care of a loved one that doesn't even recognize you. So those two things, really taking care of them and learning how to help my brother and my grandmother with their ADLs, helping with the medications, different things like that, really struck my attention and interest. And that's kind of one of the things that made me want to become a nurse. That and just watching my mother enjoy what she does so much.
Yeah, I remember those times when she was taking care of your grandmother, and there were some times, there were some rough times, right? Because it's rough because they don't display, like they're not always there and thinking in the
Yeah,
same manner in which they do, so they don't have the thought process is not there. And
right.
sometimes trying to bring them back because my father had Alzheimer's too, and so he pulled the heater off the wall. I remember this so
Yeah,
specifically. Pulled the heater off the wall, and I thought, whew, that's gonna be rough. This is gonna be a
yeah.
rough time, right?
And my grandmother was big on the wandering thing, and that was scary in itself, just the thought of her getting out of the house or anything. So it was very difficult.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, what is some advice you would give someone that is going into nursing school for the
Whew,
first time?
I could I could spend the whole 30 minutes talking about this.
I know that's right.
Um, don't give up. No matter what you go through, don't give up. I've had to deal with a lot of challenges while in nursing school, even before nursing school. And my big thing would be just don't give up, keep going. You're gonna meet a lot of bumps on the way. You're gonna mess up. Mistakes are okay. But just keep going. Don't give up. And once you're there, like getting my badge that had those two little letters on it, RN, was like the best feeling in the
Mm,
world. Then finally being able to work and help patients is the best feeling in the world. So don't give up. Once you get there, I promise everything that you've been through is so much worth it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, this is you are the epitome of don't give up because you failed your
Yeah.
NA one 3 times and could not get into nursing school of your choice because of test anxiety. Now, how were you able to pass the NCLEX?
So a lot of prayer, a lot of dedication, first off. Um, Me and my mama, every time, even before NCLEX, when I was going to go take a test, she would call me. We had to take our test at 9 o'clock, and she would call me at 8 o'clock, right before bed meeting, every single morning to pray with me. And then we also had a prayer group because everything was online because of COVID, so that made everything much harder. So continuing after COVID with being online, me and a couple friends would always get into a group FaceTime call and pray before tests, right after I pray with my mother. So prayer is a big thing. And then dedication. To pass NCLEX, I knew right off the bat that I needed to dedicate my whole entire life to studying for this one test that was going to determine my career. So I took time away from a lot of things. I took time out of work. I took time away from my family, and I sat down and I really studied everything that I learned. And going into NCLEX, if you're a new graduate, I highly suggest if you don't know it by the end, you're not going to know it. So the most important thing to do right now is study testing strategies, um, because it's not necessarily the content you don't know, but with NCLEX, you have to know how to answer those questions. Because NCLEX is going to ask you a range of things, and you just have to know how to answer it. So definitely prayer, dedication, knowing how to answer the questions, and a lot of practice questions.
I think that you said, a mouthful when number one, you said prayer. I remember Gail, Gail, who was Linda, who is Candace's mother. She has two names that we call her.
Right.
I call her Gail, okay? And so I remember myself, and Christy Bullock, as a matter of fact, we would all get together and we would pray before our weekend shift. And those were the best weekends ever, right? Because we literally came in and we we knew that God was, in the mix, right? Before we even came on shift. And it was just such an amazing time period in our lives. That's number one. Number two is, I remember going through my DNP process and understanding that I just had to pull away from a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? Pull away and just not, you were talking before we came on about the fact that you were watching TV and you were like, well, am I supposed to be doing something else? Right.
Right.
Right. Because you have to pull away. You have to focus, be laser focused whenever you are, you know that you're having the issues, that you have the test anxiety, and for me, had to be laser focused because I knew that the assignments were due. I couldn't stop. I had to keep it going. Right. And so I think that that's one thing that we need to be very strategic in telling our fellow nurses who are going back to school. Don't give up, be laser focused. You may not watch that movie that you want to watch when it comes out in the theater, right? But it'll be
Right.
there. It'll be there
Yeah.
on Netflix whenever you get out of school. It's
Yeah.
okay. You know? Go ahead.
And just going back to like the prayer thing, I'm telling y'all, when me and my mother, like I would have the like to the point that I would almost vomit. That's how bad my test anxiety was. Um, and after praying with my mother, I just felt God like lift that stress off of me. And I cannot, like, prayer got me through nursing school. God got me through nursing school. I full on believe that. No, I mean, my mother encouraged me, my father encouraged me, my husband encouraged me, but it was God who brought me through. He brought me through it, and to it, and I just can't thank him enough.
So let's talk about your daddy. So, because your daddy is a respiratory therapist.
Hmm.
So tell me, how he helped you get through nursing
Um,
school through
so
laughter.
yes. Oh my gosh, you know my daddy. He is a comedian. Um, and he loved when we got to like the respiratory part of it, the ABGs, and Mama would laugh at him because he'd go so in detail about it. And Mama was like, she's not going to respiratory therapy school, she's going to be a nurse. But through laughter, through encouragement, again praying for me, I couldn't have made it without them too. They're definitely my backbone.
And that's really good because a lot of people, they don't make it past that second semester
Yeah,
because of fluid electrolytes. They
yeah.
don't. That is a tough chapter. I mean, I about
Mhm.
not made it past that first semester, that second semester,
Right.
because of that. And so that's huge that you had them both there to
Yeah.
kind of help you out. Now, tell us about your grandmother and how important it was to spend time caring for her.
So caring for my grandmother, she like I said, she had Alzheimer's and it progressed. She moved in with us through her end stage of it. And watching her not like forget how to do her ADLs and just forget who we were and calling me mama or mama me, and it was very difficult, but honestly, I'm very blessed to have been able to take care of her in her last days, because I felt like that was the push I needed to know that I wanted to be a nurse. Um, because helping clean her up and give her medicines, and my mother and father working 12-hour days at the hospital. I was old enough that I was the one who would take care of my grandmother and my brother with special needs, while they were gone at work. So spending that time with them, it really is what made me want to become a nurse. That was the breaking point that I was like, okay, God, I hear you.
I'll go and do what you say that I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Now, you grew up with Brandon, which is your brother. Now, he was diagnosed. What was he diagnosed with when he was born?
So Brandon was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and seizures when he was born. The doctors really couldn't tell us why. It was just kind of a thing that happened. So yeah.
Gotcha. Now, what were some of the challenges and blessings growing up with a special needs sibling? Because it's
So
just you and him.
yeah, I wish everybody knew Brandon because Brandon is just a firecracker.
He is.
But he loves everybody. I'm gonna start with the blessings because that boy blesses me more than anybody knows. But watching him do things that the doctor said he couldn't, would ever do, is like a blessing in itself. The doctors told my parents that he would never be able to walk or talk. And if you know Brandon, you know Brandon does not shut up, and he walks wherever he wants to.
That
So
part, that part.
that yeah, that is a blessing in itself. Watching him learn new things every day, and he loves God. He'll invite you to church real quick. Don't care if he doesn't know who you are. He's going to invite you to church. But he's just amazing. Just watching him grow up and learn new things and be able to do things that people said he would never do is a blessing. And then the challenges, watching his bad days. I mean, me and you, we have bad days, but with Brandon, he really does have bad days where like he'll try and tell you things and it doesn't necessarily come out the way he wants it to, and he gets frustrated. I mean, that would make anybody frustrated. And then he hasn't had a seizure, and Mama's probably watching this, and I think it's been 8 years. I can't remember, but he hasn't had a seizure in 8 years, so that's another blessing in itself. But watching him have seizures was very hard, especially because I was young myself and I didn't know necessarily everything that was going on. But that was scary to me, watching him have seizures. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that Brandon he's so nice. Like you,
Yeah.
when you come into the room, Brandon is going to talk to you. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's just
And
what it is.
Love hugs too.
I know.
He knows no stranger.
He does not. He does not. Now, tell us a book that has impacted your life and why was it so impactful?
So I've read a lot of books that have impacted my life, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this one. It says "When God Says Wait." It's by Elizabeth Thompson. I don't know if you can see it.
Uh-huh.
This one really impacted my life. I'm gonna tell you how I got it. So, when COVID hit, a lot of things were happening where healthcare workers were coming together and doing things for each other. So I joined a Facebook group, and what they did was you would make an Amazon wish list and post it there. And I had just put this book in my cart, not just because it was something cheap, and I mean, it looked like a good read. So I put it in my cart, not thinking anybody would get it for me. I just did it. And another fellow nursing student that I did not know, I think she was from Kentucky. She got it for me. She bought it for me and sent it to my house. And in the note it said, I got one for me too, because I know your struggles. And that was a blessing in itself, just because you don't know somebody and they give you a gift and it's something that is impactful to you. But I read it, and it's about it goes over stories in the Bible where God told his people to wait and the benefits from them waiting. And it really helped because during COVID, everything was happening. I mean, things were shutting down. I worked as a nursing assistant, and things at the hospital were so different. I mean, screenings, having to wear a mask everywhere, having to deal with COVID patients, and then also being in nursing school with the stress of that. So reading this and knowing that God has a plan, God knows what you want, and he's going to do everything he can to get it for you, even if you have to. So that really impacted my life.
I love it. I'm gonna have to get that book. I honestly have never heard of it. Who's the author again?
Elizabeth Thompson. I can bring it to you for you to read.
But you know, I don't read books. I mean, I listen to books. Okay,
yeah.
So I just buy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's telling my husband the same way.
Because what I used to do is I used to always buy books from people, and then I would never read them. Like, I want to listen to the book, because me and my husband go on long road trips. We listen to books, right? That's what we do in order to edify. Yeah. So, I mean, you can bring it to me, but I probably won't read it.
Okay. At least you're honest.
That's right. That's right. So now, who is someone that has impacted your life, and why were they so impactful?
This one was hard. I mean, not really hard. Like, obviously, I'm going to say my mom and my dad, because they are big people in my life. They're both in healthcare. They both know exactly what healthcare people have to go through. And they encouraged me. They supported me through nursing school. So they're at the top automatically. But I also have a lot of people that I work with that has impacted my life as well. Just because my mama always tells me I never knew how many mothers I actually had. And that is true, because I have so many people that I work with that support me and message me on a daily basis. Like after I took NCLEX, I kid you not, I had like 22 messages on my phone after I got out asking how it was going. So
Oh,
I'm going to say my mom and my dad, just because they are both so impactful in my life, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. But also the people that I work with, because they teach me, they're role models to me, and they supported me as well through nursing school.
that's important. It's important that the culture of your organization or the culture of your unit is really, really
Right.
good, right? And that you feel supported whenever you come out of nursing school, because when you transition from NA to RN, which I've never done that transition, but I've transitioned from LPN to RN. And but it's different, right? It's
Yeah.
not the same thing. I mean, you have to, increase your critical thinking skills. And I think one of the things that is important to know is that because you did transition from CNA to an RN, I think it's going to be a lot easier for you to transition from RN to FMP, because then you understand that transition, you understand in the upscale, and you understand that, you have to just think very differently.
Right.
Now, you sell Scentsy.
Mhm.
Now, you have been my rep. I mean, I love the, what is it, whiffs that I get
Mhm.
from you. Yes. And you're just so, this is one thing. So I just want everybody to know this about me. If I recommend somebody, it is because they are phenomenal. Okay. I just want to let you know that. All right. So Candace, when I call her, when I send her a message about wanting something, like she is on it, literally on it. And so I'm just so thankful for you. When we were looking at the questions, I was like, well, we got to highlight the fact that you sell Scentsy, because one of the things that she does is that whenever I call her, again, message her, we usually message through Facebook Messenger. And whenever I message her, she's on it. She gets my product to me, I get her money, and we're done. Like, it's not a whole lot of, back and forth. And then whenever she gives it to you, she gives it to you in this cute little packaging. Like, it's just so, so cute. It's just so personable, right? And so I love it. I love it. I love it. So now, how can people find you?
I have a website that you can go to. You want me to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's CandacePerry.Scentsy.us or .us. You can find me through that. I can also I also have business cards and stuff that have my number and email on them. You can always email or message me or call me, whatever works best for you. And I'm always there. I always have my phone in my hand. So I'm a part of that generation.
We wouldn't have never known. Wouldn't have never known. But go and buy Scentsy from it. You can drop the link whenever we finish this interview, okay? Because I want people to know where you are and how to find
Yeah,
you. So
I
thank you,
appreciate
thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up this morning. Now, we just finished our VP Nursing Business Academy 4-day masterclass. It was such a phenomenal event. We still have time to sign up. You still have time to sign up for VP Nursing Business Academy. The last day is July 5th, 2021. We can jump on a call so that you are able to gain clarity on how to create multiple streams of income. You can sign up at vpnursing.com, V as in Victor, P as in Paul, nursing.com. Ask that you like and share this podcast, and just know that Morning Infusion with Dr. V is where we are intentional about connecting you with leaders such as Candace that have overcome, so that you know that the possibilities are endless. Do you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day?